Here we go. Welcome, Caleb's Basketball Pod. Welcome to our free agent episode. The free agent tracker. This is trades, free agents. We're going to touch on the ones we haven't talked about. Just since there's so much that's going on, I'm going to give a little bit for each move, a little bit faint for each team, I should say, and we'll go from there. Free agent tracker, we start things off with the Atlanta Hawks. Atlanta Hawks have got Nickeil Walker-Alexander on a 4-year sign-and trade. They got Luke Kennard, and we already talked about them getting Kristaps Porzingis. All in all, I would grade the Atlanta Hawks offseason as an A+. I think they are making great moves. I love the Nickeil Walker-Alexander sign-and trade. I think he's going to be, right now, a bench player, but I believe there's most definitely ability to move to that starting lineup. Depending on what style they play, small ball, bigger basketball, I think he'll have a shot too. And I mean, we don't know how healthy Jalen Johnson's going to be. I think he'll probably battle with Zachary Wishaw for that starting maybe small forward or two guard spot. But yeah, I love that signing. I like the Luke Kennard steady shooter off the bench. And I think Atlanta is most definitely going in the right direction, and don't count them out on possibly contending in the East, because that is a very good, young, athletic, long roster in Atlanta. Next up, Boston. The Boston Celtics, since we've last talked, have got Luke Garza and Josh Minnan. On top of Simons and Niang, we know they lost Holiday, they lost Cornet, they lost Porzingis. I'm not liking Boston's offseason right now. I would be surprised if when the season gets closer, or maybe even mid-season, if they don't start taking more calls and getting more serious about possibly getting draft picks for a player like Jaylen Brown or Derek White. As of right now, it's not big on what the Celtics are doing. I know they have to because of the second tax apron, and the owners don't want to pay that much, but I think Boston's going in the wrong direction at this moment. Brooklyn, they've re-signed Day'Ron Sharpe, Zaire Williams. Then they've got Michael Porter Jr. and Terrence Mann. Michael Porter Jr. was acquired by trading Cam Johnson to the Denver Nuggets, straight up. And I like this trade for both. We'll get to Denver's side, but Brooklyn's side. I think Michael Porter Jr. can be a big piece to this rebuilding Nets team and possibly be a star. We haven't really got to see what he can do as the guy, so I think he's going to have a shot to be the guy in Brooklyn. I love that move. I like what Brooklyn's doing. I like the addition of Terrence Mann, too. Charlotte, they've mostly acquired players via trades. Very interesting. They did get Mason Plumlee from the free agency, but they got Pat Connaughton and Colin Sexton via trades. Kind of guard-heavy rotation we're seeing. But interesting signings. Right now, they're grabbing the throwaway guys, the Sextons, Connaughton. So, interesting to see what they're doing in Charlotte. Not a bad offseason so far. The Chicago Bulls, they've re-signed Trey Jones. They got Isaac Okoro in a trade with the Cleveland Cavaliers. They lost Lonzo Ball in that trade. I'll talk about Lonzo Ball in Cleveland when we get to Cleveland. But getting Okoro, Trey Jones, I don't really think Chicago's getting nearly as much as they should be getting in return for Lonzo, for DeMar, for Zach LaVine. I don't think they're doing everything they should to maximize their roster and rebuild, but I think they have to rebuild. So it's a tough situation. I'm not huge on what Chicago's doing right now. Cleveland, they've re-signed Sam Merrill. They lost Ty Jerome via free agency, and they got Lonzo Ball. I love the Lonzo Ball. I do. I like it. I think it's a great move for Cleveland. But by not having Garland at the start of the year, losing Ty Jerome, not sure how great the move is because we don't know Lonzo Ball's health. That circled Lonzo Ball, especially the last few seasons. So unsure about his health. I think if healthy, it's a huge move. If he's not healthy, who's your point guard, especially the first maybe month or two of the season when DG's not playing? It'll be interesting to see where that goes. Dallas Mavericks. We know they re-upped Kyrie Irving, 3-year deal. Love that move. Signed D'Angelo Russell. Not necessarily huge on that move. He is reunited with Davis, so there's some chemistry there. But I don't know. I don't think D'Angelo Russell fits too well with the team, and the fact that he's probably going to be starting until Kyrie gets back. And I think that takes the ball out of Cooper Flagg's hands for Russell to be effective. And I'm not huge on that. Denver Nuggets. Not a team like the Atlanta Hawks that I love what they're doing in this offseason. Look at everything the Denver Nuggets have done. We're about to go over, and I love every single one of these moves. They've got Bruce Brown back. 1-year deal. Love that, big part of their championship team. Great. Cam Johnson. Love that trade. I think Cam Johnson fits better on a win-now situation than Michael Porter does. Not saying Michael Porter Jr. can't, saying we've seen what Cam Johnson can do defensively, catch and shoot in Phoenix. Great move from Denver. They signed Tim Hardaway Jr., not a great move from Denver. And then they traded for Jonas Valanciunas, and that allows you the ability to rest Jokic. I love everything Denver's done so far. Detroit Pistons, they've re-upped Paul Reed. Good move. He was playing good, bringing energy. And they agreed to a deal with Karis LeVert. I like that move too. That's reuniting him with J.B. Bickerstaff. We know how much J.B. Bickerstaff trusted Karis LeVert their time in Cleveland. So I like this move from Detroit, and it gives some vet leadership to a young Detroit team. Good move. Golden State Warriors so far have yet to sign anyone or trade for anyone. Houston Rockets, another team I love what they're doing. We know they got Kevin Durant already. We talked about that. Great move. They got Clint Capella, a 3-year deal. They got Dorian Finney-Smith, another really good deal. Gives you a backup to Kevin Durant, allows you to put him in late game situations to go big, but not limit your floor space. So a great move there. They re-signed Steven Adams. We saw how important Steven Adams was to the playoff run. They re-signed Aaron Holiday, catch-and-shoot guy, can play minutes if needed. They re-signed Jeff Green, a big veteran, that's for the locker room. They agreed to an extension with Jabari Smith, good move. They re-upped Tate, Jayshawn Tate, and Fred VanVleet. I love what Houston's doing. I like what they're building. I believe they're a legit championship contender, much like the Denver Nuggets. Indiana Pacers have yet to make a move. The Los Angeles Clippers re-signed Nicholas Batum and James Harden. Not bad moves. I think a little bit too much money for James Harden. Nicholas Batum, not bad, just right contract in my opinion. They agreed to a 2-year deal with Brook Lopez. That's interesting. I did see that coming. I thought Brook Lopez was going to go to the Lakers. He ended up going to the other Los Angeles team. It'll be interesting to see what he does and where his role is with Ivan Zubac already on the Clippers. But interesting move there. Los Angeles Lakers, Jake LaRavia is the only addition right now. They lost Dorian Finney-Smith. We know LeBron opted into his contract, and he said he's going to see the direction the Lakers go in before he really makes a decision on his future there. So I think there's a microscope on what the Lakers will be doing. The Memphis Grizzlies re-signed Gerald Jackson Jr., Cam Spencer, Santi Adama. Good moves there. Keep some of you guys intact. They're going to buy out Cole Anthony or trade him. Interesting, because I think he can still be a pretty good backup point guard in this league. They got Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. We talked about that. And they signed Ty Jerome at only $9.3 million a year. Very interesting and pretty low deal for someone who had much of a breakout year, was almost a 6-man. I'm also interested to see, does he play that 6-man role? Does he back up Ja? Or is he your starting 2-guard? Or is KCP your starting 2-guard? Interesting to see. Miami Heat, they've re-upped Davion Mitchell. That's a good deal there. A lot of people's waiting to see what they're going to do with Dame Lillard becoming available. I think Miami will probably look to sign him, most definitely, but we'll see where that goes. Milwaukee Bucks, they're a team that's made a lot of moves. Let's talk about 'em. So they've re-upped Kevin Porter Jr., Bobby Portis, Torian Prince, Jericho Sims, Gary Trent Jr. That's neither here nor there. None of these guys moved Benito enough to win. We saw that. We saw Milwaukee was not championship contenders. So, that's not really a big deal in my opinion. It doesn't move Benito. They've got Mitchell from the Hornets for Connaughton. We're not sure really if he's going to play or not. They got Miles Turner. And when I saw this deal happen, this 4-year, $107 million deal, my first reaction was, how do they have the money to do that? Then we all saw how they got the money. They waived Dame Lillard. They would sign Gary Harris a little bit later after that. But waiving Damian Lillard to get Miles Turner, that does not help you. You are not more of a championship team. You're less of a championship team. We know how good Dame Lillard was. We all expected him to recover fully from this ruptured Achilles tendon. He's still young. He's not old. And we saw what he was doing last year. We saw Kevin Durant come back from an injury, ruptured Achilles, at an older age as a bigger player, which makes that harder to happen. So why did Milwaukee fear Dame could come back, or did they think Dame was leaving? No matter what, because I've heard Milwaukee say that he was probably going to opt out of the contract after this injured year. So they just got rid of him, but they're paying him $22 million for like the next 4 or 5 years each year. I don't understand what Milwaukee's doing, and all I know is they left Giannis not pleased with that move. So interesting to see where it goes from there for Milwaukee, and it'll be interesting to see if Giannis asks his way out. That's a big move to watch. Minnesota Timberwolves, they've re-upped Naz Reid, Julius Randle, and Joe Ingles. Pretty good there. They haven't got any additions, and they lost Nickeil Walker-Alexander. I don't think it's a good offseason for Minnesota yet, but we'll see what they do. New Orleans Pelicans, they got Saddiq Bey and that Jordan Poole trade. They got Kevon Looney, pretty good backup center. And as we know, they got Jordan Poole. Not a bad offseason. Again, just like I spoke on last time, I see no leadership on this team. Hopefully, maybe Kevon Looney will bring a stable influence on the bench, being a former NBA champion, NBA vet. So hopefully that brings stabilizes the team. New York Knicks have signed. They're going to sign Jordan Clarkson when he clears waivers, and Guerschon Yabusele. Pretty good deal. I like Guerschon, French player. We know he did really good in the Olympics. Backup center, small center. So we think that Mitchell Robertson will probably move to the starting lineup. So not bad getting Yabusele. I think it's a good deal. And I love the Jordan Clarkson move. Bring some scoring off your bench. And now that Tom Thibodeau is not there, we expect to see the bench play more. Oklahoma City Thunder. They have re-upped Shai Gilgeous to a massive contract extension, largest in NBA history. A.J. Mitchell and Jalen Williams. Not small forward Jalen Williams, center Jalen Williams. They've re-upped those guys. They have not done really anything else besides that. But hey, they're the NBA champions, so right now what they're doing is working. Orlando Magic. We talked about Desmond Bane, good move. And then they signed Tyus Jones. I love that move. He replaces Cole Anthony off the bench. And he's a stable point guard. He'll come in. He has the best assists to turnover ratio in NBA history. Just about. And he'll come in and he won't make mistakes. And he'll keep your offense rolling. I like that move. Philadelphia 76ers have re-signed Justin Edwards. And they've got Trenton Watford on a 2-year deal. Nothing spectacular from the Sixers. I think we're all interested to see what happens with Paul George. Do they move him? Do they keep him? Is Joel Embiid healthy going into the next season? That's something to just keep an eye on. Phoenix Suns, they re-signed Colin Gillespie. He came on late for them for the Phoenix Suns, so good deal there. They got Nigel Hayes-Davis. They got Mark Williams via trade with the Hornets. I like that move. Gives you a center. They're looking to trade Nick Richardson. They got Dylan Brooks and Jalen Green, which we've spoke on. Not a bad offseason from the Suns. I'm just interested to see if they have the ability to compete, to even compete as a play-in team, because they struggled last year, and they couldn't do it with KD, so it'll be interesting to see if the Jalen Green fit works. Portland Trailblazers, they've re-signed Garrett Temple. They got Drew Holiday. We don't know if he's going to play. Nothing spectacular there. They may end up losing Drew Holiday and may get nothing in return because he does not seem like he wants to play there. Sacramento Kings, Dennis Schroeder, Darko Saric is who they've acquired at the moment. I'm not big on the Dennis Schroeder move just because I think Schroeder had a way of options of contenders he could go to. And the fact that he did not, and he went to the Kings, Kings are one of those teams, much like the Bulls in the last few years. You think they would pick, you're going up or you're going down. And they're staying in the middle, and you're not going to do anything there. So they need to, in my opinion, change from just being average and being mid, because even this team and how it's designed, and adding Schroeder, a ball handler with Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Sabonis, I don't see them winning anything. I don't even see them getting to the play-in with how stacked the Western Conference is. So I'm just not big on those moves, and I don't think they're not making a difference to be a championship team, and they're not making a difference to be a lottery team. I think it's a negative move just in the fact of you aren't picking a direction, and it's not going to move the needle one way or another. San Antonio Spurs signed Luke Kornet. Pretty good deal. Backup center. He allows you to rest Victor Wembanyama. So not a bad move. I think a little bit overpaid for him. But when you're a bad team, you have to overpay for guys with championship experience, and that's what they did. Toronto Raptors got Sandra from the San Antonio Spurs. Decent move. And we signed Jakob Porto. Not a bad offseason. They also got Brandon Ingram. We haven't seen him compete as a Toronto Raptor, so I'm interested to see how that looks. And I think Toronto's a dark horse. They have a good, young, long roster. I'm interested to see what they do and see if they sign anyone else. Utah Jazz have got Jusuf Nurkic. We know they got rid of Clarkson via buyout. Nothing special from the Jazz. Have yet to sign anyone. Washington Wizards, they've got Kelly Olynyk, which I did speak on in that trade last time. Good move. CJ McCollum. Then they got Dylan Jones from the Thunder. They're getting guys to change the culture, and I like that for Washington. So I think Washington's doing a pretty good offseason. And I think with McCollum and Chris Middleton and even Kelly Olynyk, these are good vets that change the culture, and I think that's all you need to start building from the ground up. You can't build what's not there. And Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma, you weren't going to build too immature. So I like what they're doing there. Thank you guys for watching my free agency episode. I talked about free agents and trades. I'm sure there'll be a lot more by our next episode. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.